ultimately, when a buyer asks ChatGPT who to call, I mean, are you the answer or are you invisible?
Yeah.
You're listening to the Endless Customers podcast, brought to you by the team at Impact. Endless Customers is the proven system to become the most known and trusted brand in your market. If you want to learn the principles of Endless Customers and how you can implement them in your business, pick up a copy of Endless Customers, a national bestseller, wherever books are sold. Ready to start implementing Endless Customers in your business? Talk to Impact about how our coaching program can help you implement Endless Customers to success. And if you want to experience Endless Customers in person, don't miss our upcoming event, Endless Customers Live, in Hartford, Connecticut, October 5th through the 7th, 2026. Registration is now open. And now, on to the show. Here's your host, Bob Ruffolo.
We have an incredible episode coming your way today, and I'll be honest, by the time you reach the end of this conversation, I think your mind will be blown. This episode is loaded with insights on AI. We talk about building a company AI first, how to dominate AI search results in your market, and how to build a digital moat around your business. But this conversation goes well beyond AI. It's about learning, grit, and perseverance. It's about what it actually takes to build a business that's superior to the competition in every way. Today, I'm joined by Scott Merritt from HonestFix. Scott has been part of the Endless Customers community since 2020, back when he was leading his previous company and he was a client of Impact, being coached on They Ask You Answer. He had tremendous success with it and eventually sold that business. Now he's taking everything he's learned and applying it to his new venture. I've known Scott for a long time and I'm incredibly proud of what he's doing. He's the kind of leader who keeps learning, pushing, and raising the standard for what's possible. This is a bit of a longer episode, but stay with it because the value keeps building right up until the end. Scott, welcome to the show. So glad to have you on. And Scott, you and I have known each other now, probably 7 years or so, I have to assume it's been.
Right around there.
Yeah. So, Scott is somebody I admire a lot. He's a true entrepreneur. He's a true learner. School of hard knocks, learn things his way. I really think it would be great to start the episode, give a little background of who you are and how you built your first company. And it's Fire and Ice. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about them today because we have a great new company we're building from the ground up that we're going to talk about, which is HonestFix. But talk about your journey to how you started that company in the first place.
After school, I spent, high school and so forth, spent a few years in restaurants and so forth, kind of spent a bunch of time drinking, wasting my life, just not doing, what's best and not really focused on a career. To the point where I just basically destroyed my life, right? And then I basically hit rock bottom, and then I went and had a long prayer with my maker and uh, asked for something different and so forth. And I woke up the next morning and I went. I was just walking down the road here in town in Columbus, Ohio, and I passed this building. And it said, class is starting Monday. And I was 25 at the time, and I'm like, I just walked in and I'm like, hey, what can I start on Monday? I didn't even know what the classes were for, right? And they said, well, there's medical assisting, and then there's HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. So I said, okay, I'll take HVAC, but and then I started that, and I went through a year-long class, and then I got a job in the field as a service technician, and I spent the next 10, 11 years in the field, or no, 10 years in the field. And then, I always had a plan of once I was in the field for 10 years, I would open up my own business.
Wow. Yeah.
So 10 years and one day later, I opened up my HVA or fire and ice heating and air conditioning here in Columbus, Ohio. And I owned and ran it, and I was always kind of in charge of marketing because I always loved that part. And I did that for 21 years until I sold it mid last year.
Yeah.
Worked there for a few months after that, and then left there, and then helped found this new HVAC company 2.5 hours away in Eastern Ohio. It's been quite the change, just because I left a 2 million person tier one market, and we've moved, I moved to a, 80,000 person tier three market,
Yeah.
so the economy is just way uh, more economically challenged. Um, and we opened 8 months ago, and we haven't really done any paid advertising. Everything that we've been doing is the endless customers format.
Wow.
So if
What
I
a
could just
journey.
take 1 second,
Yeah, please.
I want to thank you, Bob. So what you built, and what you built with impacts and your EOS aligned structure with your 90-day markers and your roadmap. It's truly been the bedrock of how Fire and Ice excelled in the last 5 or 6 years, and it's completely the bedrock on which I build everything with the new company. So thank you for that. I
No,
probably would not have been able to sell my old company for what I did without the website being so extremely strong compared to everything else that was out there.
well, Scott, that means more than you know. Um, the reason why we do what we do is to work with people like you. And, I think I speak for Marcus and the rest of the coaches that, it's an honor to be able to do what we do every day, and to be able to work with just incredible entrepreneurs such as yourself. Um, and we learn as much from you all, especially when you have a journey, a story like you. We learn more from you and then our job is just to share, so it's a heck of a partnership, and we're really incredibly proud of you. And your story is so incredible because it's a story of learning, not giving up, persevering, trying new things, being open-minded, being curious, exploring, experimenting, all these things. Your whole life has been that. And that's what it takes to be a great business leader. And that's why, even through the things the challenging, I didn't know you then, obviously. But I can imagine who you were going through, and seeing that sign in the classes and going to classes, and you're probably at the top of the class, and you just worked so hard with that grit and that energy, and all the things that we teach. It takes that. There's no magic pill to run a great business, to run great marketing, to build something excellent that could be sellable. It takes a lot of grit, and you have it. And that's the biggest lesson that we can learn from you. We're going to learn a lot more lessons because we're going to talk a lot about AI today. But if nothing else, I mean, even when it comes to a whole new world we're entering with AI, it's going to take grit. It's going to take experimenting. So let's dive into a little bit. How did you first discover? Originally, when we first met, we were doing They Ask You Answer. It wasn't even Endless Customers yet. So how did you first discover They Ask You Answer? What resonated with you, and why did you make that the bedrock of what you were doing at Fire and Ice?
So, well, COVID. So right at the very beginning of COVID, um, like February of that year. So before it even really got super big, right?
Yeah.
It was just the first time people just started wearing masks and so forth, and we didn't really know how bad it was going to be. But um, I was already looking for. I could just tell it was going to get worse.
Mhm.
I've been in. I spent a decade or so running a disaster response team and search and rescue team on the side, and just human nature goes in certain directions at certain times. So, and then of course business just started dropping off, and just the phone just stopped, completely, pretty much. And I was searching, right?
Yeah.
I was searching for an answer. I'm like, what? Something will fix this, right? So I looked at two different things. Well, my general manager at the time handed me the book They Ask You Answer, and I read that, and I read it in one night. I stayed up very, very late, and I read it one night, and I'm like, wow, why did I not know this? And why have I not been doing this? And, I'm an idiot, so I got to do this, and I got to do this now. So I read it like three or four more times. At that same time, I also started taking some AI classes at MIT and a few other places, and just started learning about AI. And that was
Back
before a
in,
couple years.
yeah, I would say back in like 2020, 2021.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Oh, cutting
before
edge.
ChatGPT ever came out.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, because I'm a space nerd and AI nerd, and so that kind of thing. So I was just I knew that it was coming, so I read a book um, called "Marketing for Artificial Intelligence for Marketing,"
Hmm.
and that was before ChatGPT came out, and
Was
the
that,
author's
was
Paul
that,
Racer.
yeah, Paul Racer. Yeah. 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 I
Yeah,
remember because we saw each other at the conference.
yeah, I
Yeah.
go every year.
Yeah.
So I read that, and that got me interested, and that was right after I was just kind of in the middle of taking some classes, digging into it. So either way, I was digging into both, and the AI thing didn't really go anywhere for a couple years,
Yeah.
right? And but the they ask you answer at that time before endless customers, that just took off in my mind. So we went out and we got a coach
Yep.
right away, and we started writing content before we knew, before we even had a coach really. And so we screwed up some content early on, but we were just starting to write it. But I went out and hired a content writer, and then I went out and hired a videographer, and I got them both coaches and said, let's just go full blast.
Hmm.
And I worked with the sales team to make sure that we were getting the assignment selling going, and we definitely had full company buy-in.
Yeah.
And luckily, we were the first ones to bring this type of marketing to the city.
Yeah.
So we really benefited. So our website was nothing really. We had never really done anything digital. We had never even really done digital ads. We still don't do digital ads, even with the new company.
Yeah.
I haven't found a need to in general. So we just build off of organic and now AI traffic. So we just started plugging away, and then within about 4 months, um, because it's a slow build. That snowball effect takes a little bit of time before it starts rolling really, really fast.
All great things
And we
do.
were starting to see traffic, right? But I went ahead and hired another content writer and another videographer, just to speed up the process anyway. Um, So, that first year, because we didn't really get started till mid-year. I mean, we did a few $100,000 just from articles we had written,
Yeah.
right? That we
Wow.
could track, right? We
Yeah.
didn't even know how many people had written article or read articles and then just called us,
Yeah.
right? And within a couple of years, we were doing a million plus just from articles that we could track. And we
Incredible.
knew, based on our assignment selling and all these other things that we were doing with the whole system, that it was working, in the whole system was working. And we just leaned into it very hard.
Yeah.
And then COVID kind of ended. So COVID was great for us once we got through that initial few months. And everybody's stuck in their homes, so they were doing a lot more research these days, and we had that system, and we were benefiting greatly for the next few years. Um, And then I guess what Marcus calls the pride cycle kind of took effect.
Oh, wow.
We just, me, and it's pretty much me, I'm like, hey, everything's going great. Let's have my videographer work on some other stuff, right?
Mm,
Some TV commercials for this, or for our mascot, or just other things that won't Taya or endless customers content.
yeah.
And over time, our traffic, we went up to 250,000 in traffic um, within the first, well, 2 years
Yeah.
per month. And, that's very good, incredibly good for the HVAC industry. Now, at that time, a lot of the traffic was national. And I have solved that problem with getting that localized here with the new company. But either way, and national traffic helps your website, helps your ranking, helps your
For the
authority and all
brand,
that.
of
So
course. Yeah.
it
Yep.
was all good. And it definitely got, plenty of attention. And well, you even put us in the endless customers as a case study.
Yeah.
So it was great, brought us millions of dollars in revenue. And then, like I said, helped build that company and helped gave us some structure that we didn't even have really when it came to marketing. Because once you commit to the structure, and it is a commitment,
Hmm.
but once you commit to the structure, everything kind of fits into it.
Yeah.
Like from every department, every part of the company, they all have a piece and a part to it, and it really helps give everybody something to work towards,
Yeah.
give everybody something to work together on, besides their just day to day, doing this portion of the job or this portion of the job. It brings everybody together in certain ways. That's really very good for morale, at least what I
Hmm.
have found.
Yeah. No, and we did put you in the book, but we also went out and filmed the case study. I remember that, and that was a lot of fun going out and meeting your entire crew in person. And Alex and I came out with it, and we filmed the whole case study. What I loved about, again, when we're talking about Scott, Scott goes all in. If he's going to do something, he's going to do it big. He's going to do it right. Let's, okay, a little pride cycle towards the end there, but we refocused, and you had a beautiful section of your building dedicated to your marketing team. They had a very comfortable spot to work. You had a beautiful studio, similar like what we have here. You had your own studio, and you were filming videos in there constantly. And I'm not surprised that you were the most known, trusted, and recommended HVAC company in the Columbus area. You did everything right online. I'm not sure if it's still there anymore. I have to imagine maybe you're not owning the company anymore, but your website at the time had the most organized learning center I think I've ever seen. It was just beautifully structured. And on top of it, they did a lot of offline things too. I remember we went to a Columbus game. You had the mascot as well, and you hit on all cylinders. Again, credit to how much you learned and applied. And then we got to the point, or you got to the point where you had your exit, and that brings us to the last 8 months, which is incredibly exciting because now you take everything that you've learned about HVAC, all the stuff you've learned about AI that's been sitting in your back pocket, your journey with They Ask You Answer Endless Customers, and all those mistakes you made are now all behind you, and you've got a fresh slate. How freaking cool is that? So you're saying, I'm going to open this up in a new market, and tell us about your strategy and things you're doing differently this time than you would have done, than you did in your previous company.
Okay, so in order to open Honest Fix, um, my mindset really is based on everything I knew at the time was um, in the future, right? AI is going to displace the need for new employees, right? So for me, with a new company, right, we're very small. There's like, 5 of us.
Yeah.
So we don't need to, it's not about replacing people we have. It's about not hiring new people as we grow. Now we're an HVAC company, so we're gonna need technicians. We're gonna need, a certain amount of people and field people all day long forever.
And well, until the next 10 years, there's robots that can do it, but yes.
Right. But I believe that in the future, well, it's already happening,
Mhm.
but I believe more so in the future that websites are going to be visited more by people's AI agents,
Yeah.
their digital assistants, which will be called AI agents. Um, they'll send them out to do their research. They'll send them out to book their calls. They'll send them out to even purchase things,
Mm-hmm.
right? Once they have trained that agent or that assistant to, like their preferences,
For
right?
sure.
Um,
And you're right.
so
You're
the
right. That's
AI
already,
agents,
yeah, you're
go
right.
ahead.
You're right. That's already happening now. And quite frankly, we're doing it, and we don't even realize we're doing that. When we go to a
Right,
Claude or chat and we say, hey, can you recommend a company for this? It's doing all the research that humans used to do, and it just gives us the recommendation. We're like, oh, good enough. That's one. Well, let's go with that one. Right. So you're spot on with that.
right. So Gardner did some research. It's a research institute, and they did some research at the beginning of last year and said by 2026, 25% of online searches will start with AI
Yeah.
by 2026, right? And it's at 38 instead.
Yeah.
So they're starting with AI. So they're starting on the ChatGPT or the Gemini or the Grok or whatever,
Yeah.
and or Google, right? Using AI
Yeah.
mode, so forth. So they're starting there,
Which is
and they're
kind of
getting their answers.
ambiguous because even traditional search is so AI loaded in the the algorithms anyways, right? So I mean really that numbers I would say is even lower than it probably really is, but totally agree.
Right. Well, yeah, because you don't know. Yeah, there's certain things you can't track yet,
Yeah.
um, and so forth. But I believe that the companies that focus on AI mediated discovery in the next 24 months and really hit it hard are going to have a um, almost a monopoly on certain parts of
That whole
well,
part of
they're
the
going to have a
buying
digital,
process.
basically a digital monopoly on the real estate that exists. I
Yeah.
think Marcus used the term digital real estate. Getting the uh, if you could get Manhattan, you know, back before there was any buildings, anything,
Mm,
you could be that base layer, which is what we're looking at. Um,
yeah. Getting in
then
early.
then everything else is built on top of that.
That's right.
So we are really focused on optimizing all our content, all our endless customers content for how AI can find it and process it and make sure ours is machine readable. It's also very readable by humans,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but humans don't have as long of an attention span as they had just like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't, so our content is more condensed a little bit. There's some more bullet points, and because of that, that's also what AI needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
AI needs schema. AI needs very good structure. And AI also needs to know how to use your website. For instance, we have, on our footer of our homepage, there's a little file at the bottom. It just says LLMs text, and it is a file specifically for AI to read.
Wow.
And it just tells the AI how to read the website, where the main pages are, where to get identifiable information. It talks about the different things, where the author pages are or the um, how our website is structured, right?
Yeah.
And that makes it super easy for the AI to go in and look at every page.
Incredible.
Instead of trying to digest an entire website, because we have in the 8 months, we've got quite a few pages. I mean, right now we have 1,769 pages live on our website.
That's a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of those are blogs and quick answer articles.
Yeah.
Obviously, which is all endless customers content.
Yeah.
Um, but it all has to be structured for AI.
Yeah. And I like the way you phrase that. It's almost like building a moat around your business. Right now, it's a blue ocean to dominate AI, claim your stake in the ground, so that way it's recommending you more than anyone else, taking advantage of that right now, doing all the things before anyone else does it, and then you're just building on it, building on it, building on it, and no one's gonna be able to catch up. And you've always had that mindset. You had that mindset going back when I first met you in the previous business, and now you're bringing that same mindset here. It's like, how do we create so much distance between us and our competitors that they can't possibly catch up?
Yeah, with the team here, I use the word moat
Yeah.
probably a couple times a week. And I'm
Brilliant.
lucky. So in
Yeah.
2020, when we started Taya, we were the first ones to bring it to Columbus, right? And then a bunch of other companies, are now doing it in Columbus,
Yeah.
and that's fine because I'm not even in Columbus anymore. So, but I was lucky that now going to this tier 3 market, and you know, nobody has really done. I mean, everybody's website is almost like 1990s static brochure type websites.
Hmm.
So I get to bring the same strategy to this other market, and I'm still first, even though this thing
Yeah.
has been going on. But now I'm even further ahead because not only am I first with all the endless customers content, I'm the only one answering questions But now I'm optimizing it all for AI,
Yeah.
which is only building that moat deeper,
Yeah.
wider,
Wow.
and so forth. And I mean, we already have interaction from AI. We've already sold jobs because of AI has found us and recommended us and so forth. So it's going well.
And the company is 8 months old.
And the company's 8 months old, and we don't pay for marketing.
And
Well,
how
this is a marketing strategy, so we're paying, but the
it's
digital
investment of
team,
time. Yeah. Yeah. In focus for sure.
the whole digital team is me and one other guy,
Wow.
and uh, he builds the web pages, right? I write all the articles. We strategize together on a regular basis, but he'll go do the schema and the other things, and there's a whole list of things, for that. But
Yeah.
we built that in 8 months, the 1,769 pages, all optimized for
In 8 months.
exactly how AI searches these days.
So in endless customers, and this is definitely rapidly changing, we used to advise 3 pieces of content per week, and that was when it was more human created. Now we're living in an AI world where assisted, and I know you're signing off on every piece of content that gets published, but what's your content workflow that you have right now that's allowing you to create 1,700 pieces of content, but also running your business?
So I don't I don't do a lot of the day-to-day running of operations
Mhm.
anymore. Um, one of the other founders does that.
Are you doing
I mean, I do
sales as
some.
well?
I
Yeah.
do some.
Yeah.
He's not he's involved in more of the field operations and
Mhm.
so forth. Um, but my writing, yeah. So I can say, okay, and I'll train. We'll just talk about GPT for a second. I'll train my GPT, and you guys helped. I mean, by large margin, it was endless customers that helped to build my GPTs. And here's everything of how to write a Big Five article. Here's and a bunch of other. Here's our brand voice, and here's all these other parameters. Here's who I am. Here's my experience. So, and then I'll be like, okay, now write an article about X, Y, and Z, right? I
Mhm.
won't get into the technicals of anything in particular.
Mhm.
HVAC's a technical field, but write this article. Now, of course, I have to go through from the top to bottom, and then I have to make 50 changes on the first one, right? So I mean, it pretty much gets rewritten, but it learns. It learns on the changes that I make. Um, So, I mean, AI can make if you leave it up to AI will make a bunch of AI slop, and they can make
Yeah.
a billion pages of content that are worthless and are not optimized and don't do any good, right? So you have to be very, very specific about the content you're making.
Yeah.
AI is assisting you, and it can help you speed up the process by a great deal, to where I can do many articles a day.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's why I was just doing the math here on my end. You've been in business for 8 months. That's about 240 days. And if you did 1,700 pieces of content, that is over 7 pieces of content a day.
yeah. So one of the things that's one of the issues that I had. So I was doing about 11 pieces a day on average.
Wow.
But
You're really building
uh,
that moat.
so yeah, well, but there's a reason. There's a reason why I had 11.
Yeah.
So which I'll tell you. So one of the with Taya, you build depending on the type of business you have. Some things you want national traffic,
Yeah.
right? Some businesses want national traffic, and that's what they want. And Taya is 100% perfect for that.
Hmm.
And endless customers is perfect for that. But we just needed to make a tweak, because I mean, we service a 10-mile radius, right? We don't really want any business outside that 10 miles.
Yeah.
And inside that 10 miles is 11 little cities, 11 little towns. So
One a day.
I will write an article about whatever the Big Five cost of an air conditioner in Steubenville, Ohio. And then I'll write an article for the other 10 cities for how much does an air conditioner cost in those cities. So, yes, the content is very, very similar as far as the basic Big Five structure,
Hmm.
but Now, if you just do it and you leave it so that helps with local traffic, local relevance, but you will 100% get dinged for thin content and doorway pages from Google and so forth, which basically means you're just duplicating content, right? So you have to make it unique.
Mm-hmm.
So the way to do that is 100%. So it's not about just putting, hey, this town has this monument in it, and this town has this building in it, and it's not really about landmarks and so forth. For us, we're in heating and cooling, so we're about indoor weather, right? So, but indoor weather is very much how it works is very much based on outdoor weather. So we look at different things from each of these 11 little towns, like the humidity in this town, because they're right on the Ohio River,
Yeah.
right? 10 feet away is the Ohio River. So the humidity in this town, because they're a low-lying area, is much higher during these parts of the year
Mm-hmm.
than this other town 2 miles away that's up, kind of up on a hill for the most part, because
Yeah.
none of these are big towns,
Yeah.
right? So there's difference between water hardness, because we also do water heaters. There's differences between humidity.
Yeah.
There's
Every
difference
town's
in
different. Yep.
every town has different, and how the houses are built, because these are mostly old houses back in steel mill days.
This is a master class right now. Keep going.
So in order to make sure you don't have thin content, in order to make sure you don't have uh, doorway penalties, you just have to make sure you're looking at geological,
Yeah.
not just geographical, not visible stuff. So stuff that truly makes that content unique.
Mm.
Now, it could be whatever, it could be 600 words, and only 200 words is that truly unique thing, right? And the other 600 words are very, very similar
Yeah.
to the other 10 cities, right?
Wow. Yeah.
For me anyway. But that 200 words that talks about how humidity is different, or the hard water is different, or here's the level of pH in the water, and all these different
Yeah.
things that are different, that is information gain.
Yeah.
And AI wants information gain.
Wow.
AI wants to go, okay, this is truly different. So it truly does give real value for that city, right? For people searching in that area.
Yeah.
So it doesn't ding it for those penalties.
Incredible.
So when I do 11 articles in a day, I'm writing the same article. And I take a lot of time building that first article,
Mm-hmm.
right? Making sure everything's perfect and all the pricing and all the other things, big 5 things are in there, and making sure that the quick answer is in there. Every article starts out with a quick answer, which is about 40 words, that helps with zero-click optimization. Zero-click optimization is when you go to Google, you type in something,
Mm-hmm.
and you ask it a question, and it automatically gives you an AI overview.
Yeah.
That is zero-click. So yes, we build it so that we can give an answer right away.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that customer might not go to our website because they have their answer.
Yeah.
But generally they have more questions.
That's right.
And they have more than just one question. And then because we're in the AI overview, which is our quick answer, then we're off to the side where it shows where they got that information.
Mm-hmm.
And because we're very thorough and we touch every little portion of the subject, oftentimes, I mean, in our area, we're competing against silence. Nobody,
Yeah.
I mean, we're the only competition
You are the side.
that's going for this space.
Yeah.
So when you're competing against silence, we are number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 on the side.
Yeah.
Right. So we're owning that space. So, and they do go to the website.
Yeah.
But if you're not in the AI overview for zero-click, well, if you're not being found, wait, you're not in the conversation.
So I got to pause here for one quick second. I'm going to talk directly to the audience. If you want to succeed with endless customers or just get more customers and grow your business, look at what Scott's doing. He's learning this stuff. He's figuring it out. He's not just delegating it to somebody. It's his business. It's his livelihood. He put everything on the line to start this new business. He's taking this seriously. He's learning it. He's figuring it out. And this is the level it's going to take if we're going to compete in the future, even for business owners. We have to have this level of understanding to be able to thrive in the world we're entering into. And I give you a lot of credit for that. you know all the technical details. Now, this might be, as an entrepreneur, you might not have to go as deep here, but you gotta know this stuff. You gotta care about this stuff, and that's the lesson. That's the through line of this episode, Scott, is your ability to learn and apply. So please keep going, because this is an absolute master. Because I'm gonna have questions about how you have all the structure on your site and everything too. But please, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but keep going. This is incredible.
Well, for your listeners, I mean, the key thing is I've learned about AI and I learned about endless customers and so forth, but the pieces did not come together without Taya and endless customers, and without some of the coaching that I had over the years from the coaches you have on staff right now. That really just kind of put the pieces together. And then, as I'm working on that endless customers content, I just ask AI other questions, right? And
Yeah.
I ask it a few, before I finish an article, I will ask it. I said, okay, what will make? I'll ask the AI. So I use GPT, I use Gemini, I use Claude, and I use Grok.
Use Grok too.
But
Okay.
most of the writing, I just use GPT.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll often put it through the other things after I'm done to see how it goes. But I'll say, okay, what else do I need in this article for clarity? Because clarity's, of course, it's important to humans, but it's also super important for AI, because AI will hallucinate
Mm-hmm.
and just make up stuff if it's not very clear. Each thing is not very clear. So clarity is, sure, it's how to make the point more clear, but it's also about how to make the content more structured and written in the right way to where it's machine readable.
Yeah.
And then I ask it for, okay, how do I make this more hyper local, right? I need it to be hyper local, right? So I need it to be about that little town that I'm working on
Mm-hmm.
right then. And it'll say, well, you need to talk about, because I'll do a big research project on, okay, this little town, Mingo Junction, Ohio, here's the certain properties about it geologically, geographically, humidity, water, all these other things. And then I'll have that as in my database. That'll say, well, you don't really touch on, you know, anything geologically here that would be important in this particular scenario, depending on what I'm writing about. Right. So I'm just doing it through a check. And you guys have a very good endless customers check,
Mm-hmm.
that you put the articles through. This is just a little bit more specific for my hyper localization.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also, just as important, um, that we haven't really talked about at all, is voice.
Oh yeah.
So voice optimization, I mean, you use, even though Siri is absolutely horrible, everybody still just asks Siri, right? Because they're in their car, they're doing whatever, they're never happy with the answer. But you know, it, it's only going to get bigger,
Yeah.
right? And supposedly in a couple of years, Siri is supposed to be able to use whatever LLM AI that you want it to use.
Yep.
So you'll be able to get your answers from the one that you like. Um, so then I'll ask it, okay, so to make sure it's more voice optimized, you need to, basically everything needs to have FAQs. FAQs is the simplest way.
Mm-hmm.
And FAQs, everything is long tail questions, right? Just like the endless customers is all long tail questions. So you just put more long tail questions, FAQs in there, structured right so it can read it. So voice, when it's doing a voice search, it can find it, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll ask, okay, what else can I add more trust? So trust is huge. You guys are all over that. The way I kind of look at it is, Marcus taught us how to be the answer, when he wrote that original book. But you and the impact team and endless customers, not that Marcus is not part of that, but you guys have turned us to, we need to earn the trust and we need to show the trust, and trust for customers is really details.
Mm-hmm.
Trust for AI is really details,
Yeah.
right? So when you ask a GPT or whatever, say, hey, who's the best HVAC contractor in Steubenville, Ohio, right? It's going to come back and it'll say, okay, well, this guy's got X amount of Google reviews. This guy's got X amount of Google reviews, right? And it'll do that. But on ours, it'll say, okay, this one guy has X amount of Google reviews. Honest Fix has X amount of Google reviews. They also have this 15-year labor warranty,
Yeah.
which is the longest in the industry. They also have licensed technicians. They also have all these other little details that are trust factors
Mm-hmm.
that most companies have.
Yeah.
But they're not on their website.
On the website. That's right.
So details build trust.
Yeah. You mentioned that warranty. This is something I've been talking a lot about with our staff and with our clients, is having that compelling reason to pick you over a competitor or to switch from one company to your company. There's got to be a compelling reason. And certainly in the trades, a warranty, something, or a promise, a guarantee, something you could stand behind is a very compelling reason. So if you're just starting a business, figuring out what that's going to be, we also talk about in Endless Customers, we say, the 4 pillars: say what others not willing to say, do what others not, show what others not willing to show. But I'll say there's like an umbrella one, and it's do what others are not willing to do, but that's what your market wants and needs. And that's starting with some kind of big promise, some big differentiator, so critically important. And then you make that to your point, the tip of your marketing. You're just saying exactly what I've been telling everybody. It's got to be the thing that you lead in all your marketing, so people know you for your 15-year warranty. And like, you got to go with Honest Fix. They have a 15-year warranty.
Well, it's kind of like the center. I got a short story for you.
Yeah, please.
2 days. Well, my birthday's in March, and 2 days before my birthday, this customer contacts us. So they didn't do a form fill. They just called on the phone, and they're like, "Hey, I look for HVAC contractors in Steubenville and on ChatGPT, and it recommended you and a couple others, and it told me that you guys have this great warranty." Right.
Amazing.
And so we asked him more questions, right? We're very interested in his, how he went about that process.
Yeah.
And he said, long story short, he's like, I'm gonna get multiple quotes. I'm gonna feed them all back into my chat GPT, probably have some questions after that, which he did. And he had a lot of questions that generally are not asked, right? But they're very technical and they're very good. And it was, we had he's like, most of the answers already came to me because of your website, where I had to reach out to these other these other companies to get these answers. And they didn't, they either didn't get back to me very quickly, or people want instant satisfaction.
Yeah.
So either way, we sold the job, $14,000. It was good. And I mean, he had just seen, and it all started with you guys ChatGPT recommended you because of your warranty.
Yeah.
And if we didn't have, I mean, our warranty is better, but then it's the best in the industry. But the point is, the other companies didn't even have anything on their websites about warranties.
So even if they had a warranty, no one would even know. It's not being recommended because it's not published anywhere. Oh,
right.
we'll just wait till we're in a sales conversation to tell them about our warranty. That sales conversation is never going to happen because they're never going to reach out to that company. I mean,
I've done a million searches in this little 10 city or 11 city area about, every possible HVAC question, to see how it comes up, how we come up, how our competition comes up. And, most of it, because none of them are savvy, towards any of this Endless Customers, answering questions, or definitely AI. Everything coming back from GPT and the other LLMs is just no information available. There's nothing listed on their website, and that's why it's only going to get worse for them. Right. And we're only building that base. I got 1,769 pages on there now. I have 1,200 more articles I plan on writing this year, just for all the little gaps.
Yeah.
So every single possible question somebody would ask, I'm going to answer it in detail, structured right, so AI can read it. So the moat is going to be, I mean, they would have to know exactly what I know. They'd have to be committed to putting all this out, and they'd have to know how to do all this with AI, which, I mean, they have to start with you,
Yeah.
right? If I were to teach somebody, the first thing I'd be like, hey, go to impact, because all the bedrock, the base layer, everything starts with that, and they'll get you 99% of the way there, and they're still adding on, a little bit more every
Yeah.
year, as it's coming out, right? Because AI is very new.
No, Scott, one of the questions I have for you is, you mentioned that you're going to write an article and then you're going to localize it for the 11 cities that you serve. Um, if I'm on your site, I have to imagine I'm not going to go to a blog. I'm going to see pretty much the same article 11 times in a row. How did you structure your site so that it's set up for these people in different cities, and that it's not just like, how much does it cost in this city and how much is it going to cost in this city? How'd you set that up? Or do you just stagger the content? What do you do?
No. So we post it all, right? So we post all in our blog. So we have two different things. We have a blog and a quick answers. The blog is where every article for all 11 cities is put out. And then the quick answers, it's still structured the same. It's just called something different. The quick answers is more of, this content, whatever this article is, just one article, and it's for the whole area, right? It's not like a cost article. So, cost articles, big five, very important. You definitely want to hone down on that hyper localization. Other things are more broad, and you can just do them separately. But
Yeah.
when you go to our learning center, or first page of our website,
Mm-hmm.
so we built Leo. Leo's our AI avatar or AI helper on the website.
He's
So
adorable.
you go to Leo on the learning center and just say, ask him the question. He'll take you to the article.
Yeah.
So whatever, I mean, he knows all 1,700 pages.
Yeah.
He knows what's on every single one. And so he'll tell you, he'll show you, he'll give you 3 or 4 articles that directly affect, whatever you're trying to learn.
I'm looking at Leo right now. So what tools you use for that?
Well, I don't know. That's Carnes.
Uh,
That's our technical guy,
Okay, somebody else.
right?
But yeah, it's
So
certainly
that
an
wasn't my
AI
deal.
chatbot. Yeah, it's an AI chatbot. You picked a really adorable lion as the guy. I love that, and I think you're onto something too. It's, you know, and I can see. I'm looking at your blog right now, so I see exactly what you're doing. Your biggest thing recently was Ream water heaters. I can see that there was a whole line of content you've been doing around that topic, and the idea that us as buyers, and certainly as AI agents, we're not going to go and search through pages and pages and pages of your website. We don't do that with Google anymore. We just want the instant answer. So people are going to go right to your chatbot and say, ask their question, and it's going to be trained on all this information. So that makes complete sense, that because behaviors are changing to just give me the answer from, I'm going to go find the answer.
So, and we also connect Leo to AIs that come to the website. So an AI agent come to the website, he can connect directly to Leo. So the AI agent doesn't have to go through 1,700 pages either, right? They can just ask Leo basically behind the scenes, and Leo will give it the information he needs.
Yeah.
And that agent infrastructure. I mean, everything's coming down to agent commerce in the future, to where one agent's talking to another agent to do everything that we're doing online. So the person at each end just gets the results, which
Yeah.
is ultimately all they're really looking for.
And I'm looking at that for AI agents page you have there. Is there something in there that directs them to Leo? Is that how that works?
No, I think it might be in the robots text.
The robots, yep. And you have the robots
That is,
text right at the top there. Yeah, I see
yeah.
that.
So that those are both of those are teaching the AIs what to connect to, where the information's at, very quickly. It's in one of those two.
Yeah.
And we built the LLMs first, and then robots a few months ago. But we're getting more interaction from LLMs now. We're getting much more visits to the sites, or they're on the site longer.
Yeah.
So it's all I mean, it's all important, right? And
Yeah.
you want to make it just whether you're doing it for an AI or doing it for a customer, you want to make it as easy as possible to find information and do business with you. So we're doing that for humans and AI.
Scott, what have we not talked about today that we should be talking about? This is incredible.
Well, there's I could go on for hours, man.
Video was something I remember you said that it was going to be something you're going to focus on at a later date. I see you do have a video on your homepage. Have you invested more in video yet, or is that still something that's on the future roadmap?
So we have quite a few videos on the website in general, but we don't have the deeper endless customers. I mean, we have a few
Yeah.
of the longer form content. It really is scheduled for me. I mean, I plan on every one of my pages, 1,769 page. Well, okay, there's about 1,500,
No.
1,600 articles. I'm gonna do a video for everyone.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just gonna but really what I'm doing, I'm not going over the whole thing. I just need to every article starts with that 40-word quick answer thing. So that's pretty much my whole video that I'm going to do is that 40 words because I'm answering whatever question they're asking.
Yeah.
Right. And it'll be linked and so forth. So that'll go on YouTube. That'll go everywhere. That'll go across our different platforms. So people can still find still ask that question anywhere. They'll find that video. It'll go back to the article if they want, or go back, the website if they want. So I'm getting ready to do that. By the time I get to um, Hartford in October, I plan on having at least 1,000 of those done.
Well, I hope
Uh,
by the time Hartford comes around that you're applying for one of our Trust and Transparency Awards, because I think you're very much going to be qualified to win one.
well, I haven't really thought about it. I don't necessarily go for awards, even though awards is putting awards on your website is
Yeah,
super important for trust signals,
it is. Yeah.
without a doubt. I just hadn't really put much thought
Yeah.
into it. But there's a few key things that we probably haven't talked about. So, at least with us and anybody that works this system, the endless customer system. I mean, anybody can outspend you on Google Ads, but nobody can outspend you on being the answer that GPT gives.
Yeah.
Or any of these other things,
Yeah.
right? Those takes the commitment, the time to it, and ads. Every click is money, right?
Yeah.
Not that there's not a space for ads. There's definitely a space for ads. Certain times of the year for us, since we're seasonal. But why wouldn't you want to build a system that works for you 24 hours a day, free of charge once you build it that first time, and it just builds into a snowball. So that's one thing, But ultimately, when a buyer asks ChatGPT who to call, I mean, are you the answer, or are you invisible?
Yeah. And
And
the other thing we've been talking a lot about too, and we're going to wrap this up here in a few minutes. You can't market a bad company. And I think most importantly, you're doing it's in your name of the business, and that's not just for show. You have always done business the right way. You've treated your employees the right way. You've treated your customers the right way. You've treated your community the right way. And I know you're bringing that to these new markets that you're serving. And that is so incredibly important, because even though you're doing all this incredible stuff from a marketing standpoint, you have to have a great business to market. The warranty is part of it. And then you're really just tying a great business together, and then everything else is going to fall into place when you start layering endless customers and all the content and all this AI automation workflows you're building around a great business. And I really want to make sure we shout out, because Scott, you've always ran business the right way, and people that are listening to this, and if they're in the market and they need some HVAC work, they should be going to you, because you do run just a phenomenal business.
well, thank you for that. We try every day.
Yeah.
Try every day to be better than yesterday. But if I say one last thing to any of the business owners out there, besides use endless customers and use the structure and get coaches, because that is 100% how I got where I'm at. And continue it. And I mean, I've had coaches for many years, because it's developing, it's evolving all the time. But The main thing when you're working on your website now is prove it.
Yeah.
Right. Trust comes from proof. I have my state license is on the website.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's proof. And our warranties are on our website. Here's the actual documents. Here's all this stuff. Prove it. And that is what AI loves. Customers love it, but AI loves it even more.
Yeah.
And they will cite it.
Yeah.
And when most of the time right now you are competing against silence because nobody else has proven it.
Yeah.
So you have it's already started, but you have a short period of time to really get better at this and get involved in this and make a difference and be that base layer of the new internet that is always going to be cited and build your moat to be, further ahead than others, because some won't get it for a long time.
Yeah.
And you're going to enjoy that whole time. And then it's only going to build that snowball bigger, and it's only going to bring in more revenue and of course profit to the company long term. So it's the best investment I've made in either of my companies in the last 25 years was this. And I'm not saying that to blow smoke up your skirt. I'm just saying that because it's true. Because it does so much more than just bring in revenue. It brings your team together. It gives you a mission.
Oh yeah.
And it's now if you don't run a good company, you don't run an honest company, well, you stop listening because you're in the wrong place.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because it's about being transparent.
Exactly. Exactly. And by the way, bringing your company together, that's why we kick it off with Alignment Day. Got to get everybody in the same page, growing in the same direction. And when you do, and everyone's focused on the same things, it's amazing what a company can accomplish, especially when they have a leader like you, who is just really laser focused and pushing the boundaries. And it's amazing that it all started with a flyer on, hey, would you like to take this class, whatever it was. And look where your journey's brought you. We're so proud of you, and so grateful to have you as part of this community. So thank you for everything, Scott.
Bob, I'm proud of what you built as well, and I thank you for it.
Seriously, thank you so much, Scott. And wow, what just an incredible episode of the Endless Customers podcast. This is one I know I'm going to have a ton of notes to go back and listen to personally myself. I'm your host, Bob Ruffolo. This has been the Endless Customers podcast. Until our next episode, take care.
If you liked this episode, please take a minute to leave us a review. Thanks for checking out the Endless Customers podcast.